What's up, guys? It's Oblivious Gamer here, and well, not much going on that I want to talk about, but I wanted to have a conversation about fighting games, in particular, some quality of life changes. Now, we're kinda in an era where most fighting games, if not all, are attempting to do rollback netcode, which obviously that's a big thing. It makes playing online a lot better, and they're also focusing on improving training mode, giving us frame data, giving us a lot of information and options. We're seeing so many fighting games gravitating towards that, and especially the newer ones that are coming out. Of course, these leave stuff like, okay, what's next? What can fighting games do now that, okay, we have fighting games are fun, we already have that. They have their typical modes, and obviously now they got the netcode kind of nailed down. So obviously they're looking at okay, what we can add. And for example, we're seeing a lot of these fighting games bringing these massive lobbies where people can congregate. We saw it with Street Fighter 6. Tekken 8 is gonna have its own version of that. Granblue Fantasy vs Rising kind of took it a step above by making it huge, adding mini games. It has a Fall Guys mode. They're kind of trying to make and add more stuff that you can do. And well, why am I talking about all of this? The Under Night In-Birth 2 beta is happening, or well, as I'm making this video, is currently going on. And I stumbled upon something that I was like, wow, I think this would be really cool if most fighting games would do. So what in particular am I talking about? Well, if you go in Under Night In-Birth, or well, I'm assuming also you haven't played, but you go in Under Night In-Birth 2, right? And in settings, there's actually an option. So you go to options, sorry, not settings, options. And you go to system. And in system, you have some interesting options there. One, auto skip versus screen. So you can turn it off or on. Then auto skip versus screen in network mode. So you can skip the versus screen on online matches. You can toggle it on and off. And then the one that's the most interesting, I think, is startup settings. And that is default, main menu, training mode, network mode. Depending on your selection, let's say you put training mode. When you load up the game, it's gonna load you directly on training mode. Just on training mode. If you choose network mode, it's gonna load you directly on network mode when you start the game. I think that is fantastic. I think that's pretty cool because sometimes, depending on who you are, and after a while, once you're done with the story modes, the arcade modes, kind of stuff, and especially if you continue playing fighting games, there's certain modes that you're going to be gravitating towards because obviously you're done with most of the other stuff, and obviously for most people it's network, training mode, and maybe some other extra depending on what fighting game you're playing. But let's simplify and say network and training mode. That's mostly where people are going to be. The fact that you can choose what you want and just load into it from the start, I think that's really nice addition, and it simplifies a lot because you can just go into whatever you want immediately. And I think it would be really nice to see other games or other fighting games also implement that. Obviously they're all different, but I would like to see something like that in most fighting games, just being able to choose what you want to immediately load into. Also, the other thing that I would love is the ability to just skip versus screens. I know some of them are cool or people love seeing them, but after a while, at least for me, it's just just load me in directly. I just want to play the match. And I really appreciate the fact that you can just automatically select something instead of having to press buttons or just having to wait on it. You can just set it up immediately. Obviously, I do feel, at least with the auto versus screen, I would think that would be something instead of being in settings, I think it would be nice to see it in network mode, just having an option there. Because I don't know, people maybe change their mind, or they're like, well, I want to see the versus screen now, and the fact that you have to go to options, go to systems, and then toggle out and off, it's just so many extra steps when it could just be directly on network. as an option or something that like when you're looking for matches, you can just toggle it on or off. Because at least with Under Night In-Birth 2, when you're going to look for casual matches, it's not you just press casual, you have a bunch of settings that you can toggle. So I think if they had it there, I think that would be really nice. Because then, depending on how you're feeling, you could be like, oh, I want to see versus screens, or oh, I don't want to see versus screens. So yeah, I mean, just wanted to quickly just talk about that. I really found that a nice, cool addition that like you can just select where you want to load immediately. And obviously the auto skips, that's really appreciate that. And I think as we're moving from, okay, fighting games are nailing down. Okay, we have netcode kind of nailed down. Everybody agrees. Rollback. What is the next step? Okay, what can we add? Oh, people are now doing lobbies. We're doing massive lobbies. We're doing lobbies with mini games, with stuff to do. Okay, as we're slowly nailing that down, eventually it's like, okay, what else can we do? And I think these changes are nice quality of life changes that like I think players would appreciate, especially players who stick with the game and they're like, okay, I'm done with everything. I just want to immediately load the game and be in whatever mode I want, be it training, be it network, or be it whatever, like having more options about that. But yeah, just wanted to briefly mention about that. Overall, I enjoy Under Night In-Birth 2. It's beta. I thought it was fun. I was playing Kaguya, had a blast. Just briefly wanted to say that. As always, so what are your thoughts, guys? This has been Oblivious Gamer, and I hope you'll have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.